everyone and welcome to Faewood. Every year at winter solstice there's a lantern parade in my area and I really love going to it. You may have seen my previous videos where I've made lanterns for the parade. I last year made myself into a lantern and this year I'm going to do something along those lines, but I'm going to revamp the one that I did. So I came across this artist Isabelle De Borchgrave and went down a bit of a rabbit hole with her work. She creates these all sorts of like installation work with paper dresses and paper clothing and things, and they look absolutely amazing. I've got to show you some of these pictures. Like, look at that, that's amazing. All made of paper. I don't think anyone actually wears these as outfits or anything like that. I think they are literally just for display. I mean, look at that. Can you believe that's paper? It's so crazy to me. So my hope is to take some inspiration from her work and actually incorporate that into my lantern and make somewhat of a more realistic looking ball gown, I guess, out of paper. But I do want to change it up a little bit from her style and make it a little bit more fae inspired. So probably a lot more flowers, maybe some mushrooms, whatever else to make it look very fairy. I want to wear some wings. I'm thinking I'm going to wear the Carnival Row wings that I made on my channel. Again, if you haven't seen those, go back and have a look at that video. I still think they're probably my favourite wings I've made so far, and so that's why I want to go down the fairy realm. I mean, usually I go down the fairy realm anyway, and I bought a whole bunch of crepe paper to help me achieve this. I have seen beautiful flowers and things made from crepe paper and I wanted to try and make some myself. So I basically bought out the store of crepe paper. In fact, that's what my husband said when I came out of the shop. He's like, did you leave them any crepe paper? And I did. Not much though, but I got a little bit of every colour because I wasn't really sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. I just sort of grabbed a whole bunch, but they were only 88 cents each, so I think it's okay. So anyway, without further ado, let's go take a look at Mavis because she is right behind us here wearing our beautiful last year's paper lantern ball gown. And I'm going to start paring it back and start reconstructing. I must say, I only just got this through the door, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. It's going to be interesting getting this out again. So all these lights are meant to stick on themselves, but it really didn't. And I used sticky tape as well, and even that didn't really stick on that well. So I don't know how I'm going to go sticking the lights on when it comes time for that. But right now, I'm just going to try and peel back all the layers. I'm even going to peel back all the stuff I did on the top. It's made in two halves so that it can fit through doors and like in the car and stuff. The downside of doing it that way is that I didn't retain a really good circle shape. I might also, because that hole for where the waist is, I made it much larger than my waist because I was worried that it'd be hard to get into, but what I found was it would have been better to fit my waist a bit better. I also made it too thick, this paper, where not as much light comes through as I wanted, so I might actually put the lights on the outside of this and have something covering them. So I think I'm going to make this a little bigger so it comes up to my waist a bit more instead of sitting more around my hips. I think that's going to look better and it's going to give me a bit more real estate to work with. had to peel back the paper a little bit on the existing structure so that I had something to attach the new rattan to, so that I can make the whole shape a bit longer, that it would fit my waist. I use a tissue paper for my lantern. You can also use baking paper, and then I rip it up because it gives a nicer edge to the pieces as you overlap them. I use a PVA mixed with just a little bit of water so that it's paintable, and I layer up my lantern till it's nice and strong. Maybe about 5 to 7 layers, it just depends on how thick your tissue paper is. I now have a base to work from. I've just been working on building this up a little bit higher, so it was at this height before, which kind of sat more around my hips. But I've realised, because I've made it in 2 halves, I definitely can bring it up right up to my waist. So that's what I've done. It's connected by wire, and I just neatened up the wire a bit as well. I put some new ribbons up the top to tie the top bits together. I don't know why I've got ribbon at the top and wire at the rest, but I don't know. That's how I did it. Because now that I think about it, I'm like, why didn't I just do wire the whole way along? For whatever reason, that's how my brain works. And now I've just been trying to work out where to go from here, because there's just so many possibilities, and I think sometimes when there's too many possibilities, you get stuck. I could do anything whatsoever here, and so therefore I have no idea because there's too much. I've been looking up AI dresses actually as inspo, because I don't know if you guys have had a look at all the beautiful AI dresses out there. There's so many really good fairy inspiration dresses. So that's kind of where my mind's going. So I think I'm going to try and incorporate the inspiration from some of those AI fairy fantasy dresses into this somehow. She hopes. I also don't have a lot of time. I have this weekend and next weekend to work on this, and I can't do too much because I just won't have time. Anyway, I'm going to stop yabbering and start working. I decided to try and colour some of my crepe paper using some acrylic ink in a spray bottle. It wasn't the greatest idea because it did make the crepe paper a little bit too soggy, and my spray bottle was leaking, which was annoying, but I wanted to use it up, so I'd probably use paint if I was doing it again, or probably my airbrush. Bunch of other fairy lights that I'm tempted to put on here as well, just because more is more. And I might, but every time I buy fairy lights, they just end up not lasting. I don't know if you guys are finding this as well when you buy little battery pack fairy lights, but I end up using it for 1 or 2 projects maybe, or even just in the one project that it's meant to stay in. And then when I go to use it again, it's somehow, I don't know what happens, but you turn it on and off and it just sort of flickers a bit and doesn't really work. So I'm hoping that these stay working. The strip lights have been fine, although I will say the blue isn't working everywhere. I don't know what happened there, if I was too rough with it or something, but at least I can get red and green and 1 or 2 sections of blue. So whatever, that's fine. I don't know yet what I'm doing with the rest of it, but I need to get a move on because I don't have much time to finish this. This was a great little book on how to do crepe paper flowers, and my flowers are not a representation of how good the flowers can be from the patterns in here. I was just sort of messing around with some different ideas. I basically just cut out some different shapes of petals and then glued them around a base. I used like a little bit of floral wire that I had. I also, on some of them, added one of those little sparkly balls. If you've seen my haul video that I did where I got $50 worth of craft stuff, it's from that haul. And that was a good little center to some of the flowers. I did use a PVA glue here. It does suggest that you use a hot glue, and there's a reason for that. Especially if you use cheap crepe paper, it got a bit soggy from the glue, but I didn't want to use my hot glue gun down near the TV, which was where I was, so I just persisted with my PVA. Box of flowers. My goodness, look at all of this mess. Far out. All in the name of creation. I can't wait to clean all this up though, but I'm not going to bother until I'm finished because I am going to continue to make mess. So anyway, I thought I would just share my little bomb site. So I'm just doing a little bit of repair work on the paper that I used on my lantern last year. There's just a little bit of wear and tear. Some of the wire has come through the paper, so I'm just patching those bits up. I guess it's probably from, wearing it in the lantern parade, a little bit of wear and tear, moving it around the studio, and I mean, it's been a year, so some of the paper just has little bits and pieces that I need to repair because I want to use some of this in my current lantern. So I'm going to patch all of this up, give it a little bit of paint, and glue it onto my lantern. If you want to see how I made these parts from my original lantern, make sure to go back and watch that video. Lantern Parade is such a great event. I definitely recommend, if you're in the area, to come and have a look at the Lantern Parade, or if you have a Lantern Parade in your own area, they're definitely a great event to go to. We get such a good turnout. As you can see, there's so many people, so many amazing lanterns. Some of them you see from year to year, and then there's always some new ones that pop up each year. It took us a little while to get moving, so we did stand sort of congregated at the start for a little while, but eventually we got moving to walk around the Lantern Parade, and the kids loved it. I hope you've enjoyed watching me put my lantern together. I'm sure I'll be back next year again. Hit subscribe if you want to see more from me, and for the rest of you, I'll see you next time in Faewood. Bye guys.